Good evening, yogis. Welcome to this Wednesday night restorative class. We're going to be down on the floor, just really getting into stretching out our bodies and making this class feel good and resting in a lot of the poses so that we can bounce back from whatever stress we've had during the day and whatever muscles are sore. Whatever we've used, muscles at the gym or at work. Tonight's just going to be a really relaxing, restful sequence, okay? So no vinyasas, no power yoga, and maybe one or two downward dogs, but in a really gentle way. So let's come on down to our mats. We're going to start by lying down flat on your back, almost like you would in Shavasana. Once you get situated on the floor, lying on your back, start to just feel into your body. Feel your head being cradled by the floor and your mat. Maybe your lower back is on the ground. Maybe this is the first chance you've had all day for your upper back to relax and just rest. Feeling your tummy let go of any tension that's been there throughout the day. And feeling your hips now sinking down, widening into the earth. And now let's take 3 long, deep breaths, just to induce the relaxation mode in our body even further. So inhaling, filling up all the parts of your body, feeling that breath going all the way down to the tips of your toes. And once you're at the very top of your breath, then letting it all go. As you sigh it out, feeling your body relaxing deeper into the mat. Let's do that again, filling up with breath. And then letting it go again, sighing it out, releasing everything from the day. Let's do one more deep breath in. And as you let that go, feeling all the tension draining out from your body and into the mat and down into the floor. Mother Earth collecting it for you. And let's move around a little bit, just wiggle around. Understand how it feels on your mat here, just to be lying down flat on your back. And then we're going to come into a pose called banana pose. So I love the name of this. Essentially, it's just going to be a side stretch, lying down. So first of all, taking your left foot and just bringing it over a little to the right. And then you're going to cross your right foot over the left. So your legs are crossed and they're reaching out to the left side of the room. Maybe pointing to the bottom left area of your mat. And then taking your right arm, bringing it above your head, and then your left arm as well if that's comfortable for you. And then taking a hold of your fingertips and then leaning your left side, you're leaning your arms over to the left as well. So you're in this banana shape. If you think of the banana shape, that'll help you get into the pose, maybe more than my cues. So what you're doing is just opening up the left side of your body and checking in with your neck, making sure it hasn't become all scrunched up and tense. You're just getting that full side stretch all the way from the tip of your right toes, up through your IT band, your hips, your side, your diaphragm, underarms, and then your forearms. go and just come on down back into a neutral pose. So back into the Shavasana that we were in, or just laying on your back, and we're gonna then go to the other side. So taking your right foot now and bringing it out to the right, and then crossing your left foot on top of your right. So I don't know if you can really see me that well in the video, so you'll just have to visualize a banana. The tips of your toes at the bottom of the banana, and so you're going to be in a C shape. So then bringing your hands up above your head, stretching them nice and long, and then clasping your fingers together and moving that whole top part of your body over to the right. So even if this is subtle, it's still a really deep, intense side stretch. All the way from the bottom of the banana, your tips of your toes, up to the very top, your tips of your fingers. Trying to breathe here. If not, just come out a little bit. Should feel really good in the left side. So opening up that side of your body so that you can breathe better. Diaphragm open. Good, and then you can let that go and come back to neutral. Good, just shift around a little bit until you get back into a neutral position. Feeling your body resting on the floor. And then taking your right leg and bringing your knee into your chest. Just a very gentle stretch now in your hip. And you can move that knee back and forth if that feels good to you. Just kind of rocking it side to side, getting some movement in that joint. And then keeping your right hand on your right knee, opening up your left arm to the side to a T, and then we're just going to open the leg out to the right. So making sure the left hip stays on the ground, it's not coming out up and over. And you're just opening up into the right groin, inner thigh. Making sure to try to keep the left shoulder on the ground. And then bringing your leg back up to center, taking your left hand now over your knee, and now bringing your knee over to the other side while your right arm now comes out into a T. We're in a little twist now. And this time you want to try to have your right shoulder moving towards the ground as your right knee. You can pull a little bit on your right knee with your left hand, just to intensify the stretch. And then letting that go when you're ready. And then we're going to go to the other side. Bringing in your left knee now. Squeezing it in, rocking it back and forth. Giving those nice gentle movements to the hip and the hip socket. Feeling some mobility in that movement. And then right arm opens up to a T, and the left leg falls open to the side. Feeling that opening in the right and the left groin now. If you need to take your right hand to your right hip and just kind of press it down gently so it stays closer to the ground, that's fine, you can do that. One more breath here. Releasing that breath. Releasing the leg, coming back into neutral. And then switching sides, right palm comes to left knee, and your left arm opens out to the side while you twist over to the right. Thinking about relaxing the left shoulder into the ground. Might not be all the way there. And then just gently pulling or not Bringing it into that nice twist. Opening up the spine. And then increasing digestion here and detox. On the next breath in, bringing everything back up to neutral. Legs can come out straight. You're laying down still. And now we're gently going to come on up to the elbows to start. And then pushing on up to the bum. Legs can be straight out in front of you. So we're in a, I think this is called staff pose. So legs are straight out, feet are flexed, and your back is totally straight with your crown lifted up to the sky. So it's actually a really active pose, right? So your quads are flexed and engaged, your hamstrings are opening, and your crown's lifting. And of course your belly is engaged here too. And so next step is we're gonna take the hands, just place them gently behind you. Then we're gonna open up the chest. You can bring your hands back as far as it feels good. And just opening up the chest now. Legs are still active. You can look up if you like, if this feels good. Opening that front body up while getting a really deep, intense stretch into the calves. Feeling how nice it feels to open up the chest, maybe after you've been hunched over the computer or hunched over other types of work, driving a lot. Good, this will feel really good on your shoulders, hopefully too. And then walking your hands up back into that really straight, long spine. And now we're going to fold over our legs, and this is gonna look really subtle for me because my hamstrings are really tight and my anatomy just doesn't bend this way. So we're going to, on the in breath, lifting the crown up, reaching up, and then on the out breath, you're going to fold over your legs. So yeah, see how subtle that is. You can have your knees slightly bent. And now we're just doing a nice relaxing forward fold, opening up the backs of the legs. But keeping your spine nice and straight and your back straight. And then just breathing here. Feeling the parasympathetic nervous system kick in now. During forward folds, we're signaling to our brain and body that it's okay to relax. Good, and then coming back up, putting your hands behind you again. We're now going to go into a reverse tabletop. So feet come to the floor, knees are bent. And then on the inhale, you're gonna lift your seat up, opening up towards the sky. And on the exhale, you're gonna bring it back down. So we're just gonna do this about 4 or 5 times. If your wrists are too tight to have your hands back like that, you can simply take them to the side. So your fingers will be pointing out to the side, which is better for me. So inhaling, opening up the front of your body, lifting up your pelvis, and then you can throw your head back. Well, don't throw it back. You can gently open up your throat, and then on the exhale, coming down. Good. Inhaling, coming back up, opening up the front shoulders and chest. Exhaling, bum comes to the floor. Another inhale, opening up. Exhaling, coming down. We'll do this 2 more times. On the open, you can also feel your glutes working here, squeezing your glutes. And exhaling, letting them go. 1 more like this. And exhaling. Good. Okay. Bringing your legs back out in front of you again. We're going to do a quad stretch now. So this one might actually, not everybody's knees are enjoy this pose very much. So I just want you to go slow. If it's not working for you, then I'll just have you do any other pose that feels good for you right now. okay? You can even lay back down, you can go into child's pose, whatever you prefer. So for people who want to try this, whose knees are pretty strong and there's not too much injury, which I know that leaves some of us out, you're going to take your right foot and just bend at the knee, placing your sole of your foot on the ground, and then you're going to take that leg and you're going to bring it back and you're going to tuck the foot, not under the bum, but right next to the bum. Okay, so now your foot's tucked under, and you might already feel the quad stretch here to a great degree. Check in with your knee right now. If your knee is not liking this, then just simply get out of it and get into a different quad stretch or any other pose. So some people like to put the knee right under the leg, but I'm not doing that. I'm putting the foot right out next to the leg. So if you're here, you want to go farther with me, you're going to come back down onto your elbows. Okay, so check in, do a little maneuvering. You might have to wiggle around to make sure your knee feels okay. And then some people are going to go back all the way down onto the ground, like this. Some people are not. So now we're in a very intense quad stretch if you're here with me. So breathing here. Continue to check in it with your knee. Even if you're feeling a little bit of a twinge, come right back up onto your elbows, please. 2 more deep breaths here. Feeling that opening in your quad all the way from your hip flexor all the way down to the knee. 1 more here. And letting that go. Good. So now coming back up into your hands, and then just very gently sliding that foot out to the side and back down. So wiggle around a little bit. You can move your feet back and forth. Just let that go. So we're going to work to the other side now. Again, making sure to check in with your knee. So first step is bringing your sole of your foot, your left sole of your foot to the mat. And then taking your foot and bringing it next to you. So you're bending it and bringing it next to you. I know you guys, here I'm going to switch so you can see this side. Okay, so I'm taking my foot and I'm setting it down pretty much right next to my bum. Okay, so it's not underneath my bum. This might be enough and it might feel hideous. In that case, get out of it right away. If you're liking this, then you can come back slowly, slowly, slowly onto your elbows. And then some people will come to their back. I won't on this side. This side is much tighter than the other side. So then just breathing here, checking in that your shoulders aren't taking in the tension for you, making sure that everything's relaxed. And if you get down this far and you feel like, actually no, my knee is not liking this, just come back up and take the pose from here or come back out of it. This is just, I find this is a really good intense stretch for your quads, and also you're probably going to feel it too in the top of your feet, which the top of your feet are very hard to stretch sometimes. Okay, good. Let's slowly come out of that. Just help your foot kind of out to the side and then around to the front, wiggling around a little bit like that. Good. All right, let's come onto our hands and our knees. So just turning our body over now and onto hands and knees for a bit. Taking a moment just to get situated here. And then we're going to, while you keep your knees and your bum in the exact same position they are now, just walk your hands out in front of you. So we're coming into melting heart pose. And so keep walking your hands out, and then exhaling, you're basically, well, you're melting your heart down. And so you're going to possibly touch scrape the floor with your forehead, but if you need some assistance, blocks are always an excellent choice here. I would rather have blocks right now because it's a bit of a, it's just not quite, it's just past my limits to do it without a block. So melting down, forehead relaxes onto the block. And then you're just letting your shoulders open up as you breathe into them. Opening up through the heart, shoulders, chest. And then if you find that after that block you feel like you got a little bit more comfortable, you can remove it. And another 2 breaths here. One more breath in that pose. Good. And then on the next in-breath, walking your hands up now. And at the same time, you're gonna push your bum back to your heels. Now we're going into child's pose. Oh, doesn't that feel amazing? Opening up your lower back and your hips. You can keep your hands out to the front, and you can also just bring them in, bending your elbows and bringing your hands down by your face, just for a little bit more of a relaxing child's pose. 3 breaths here, feeling your body sinking into the mat. Noticing that your breath has gotten longer and deeper and fuller. And as that has happened, maybe you're noticing heart rate is decreasing, relaxation setting in. Letting go of the fight, flight, freeze mode and getting into the rest, excuse me, the rest mode. Rest and digest. On the next in-breath, you can come on up. Let's move our hips off the knees. Bring the hands forward just a little bit on the mat. We're going to push back into a downward dog. Just a really nice, relaxing, flowing one. So you can just kind of move your hips from side to side. And letting your head be heavy. Feeling like your bum's getting pulled up to the sky while your hands are pressing against the mat. Lengthening in your spine, feeling your spine unwind. Just 2 more breaths here. As you exhale, bringing your knees back down. And we're going to go directly into a I just lost the word. Directly, not so directly, we're going into a modified side plank. So, coming up and opening through the right side. Good, and then feeling into the side of your foot. So you're trying to make as much length as you can in the side of your body, all the way right down to your mat. And then we can do some arm circles here just to open up the shoulders. So exhaling, bring your arm to the top and around on the inhale. Exhale, bringing it forward, or I guess I should say to the front. One more like this, opening up. And let's reverse direction. So inhaling, arm comes up, back and down. On the down swing, you're exhaling, inhaling, up, back and down. This should feel really good in terms of shoulder mobility and opening up your chest. Just let your neck kind of fall to the side. It's not doing any of the work. Good, and then coming back down into all fours. We're gonna do that on the other side. So opening up now to the left side, we're going into a modified side plank. Feeling the edge of your left foot reaching towards the back of the mat, while your hand reaches up towards the sky. Feeling your neck growing long as the crown of your head reaches to the top of the mat. Now we can do those the shoulder motions. So exhaling, reaching to the top. Exhaling at the bottom. And then inhaling, opening up, reaching up, exhaling, bringing it around and down. Big, big movements with the arm. This should feel really good. Stretching into the shoulder. Okay, we're gonna reverse directions. So inhaling, reaching to the top of the mat, and then opening up and bringing the hand down. 2 more like this. Just letting the head fall to the side. Reaching your fingertips forward, up and back. Good, and then coming down, all fours. Let's do a few cat-cows just to rinse that out, okay? So inhaling, opening up, looking up, tail comes up, and then exhaling, rounding, tucking. Just do some of these on your own. Staying in the moment, staying on the mat. Making sure your body is here and your mind. They are connected, they are one. And then coming to neutral, and we're going to bring the right foot to the top of the mat into a low lunge now. You can use your blocks for this if you like. I know I do. Like that. Good. So just getting situated, knee over ankle. And then checking in to make sure that your core is still active and you're opening up through the chest. So your feet are still pushing into the mat. Your right foot and your left knee are pushing in. Feeling an intense stretch in the left hip flexor. And also, as you can see here, I'm doing a little bit of a chest opener right here. Because momentarily, we're going to do the opposite action. And we're going to straighten the right leg and fold over for a hamstring stretch. So, half Hanumanasana. And if you want, you can, so if you look at me, it doesn't look like I'm doing much of anything, but for me, this is an intense stretch into my hamstring and also my calf. For you, you might be completely like, your belly might be on your thigh. Everyone's going to be different, right? Breathing into the hamstring. Playing around with your foot. So first of all, flexing and pointing up, and then try to point your foot down and see how that feels, like just like you're a ballerina. So inhaling, flexing up, and exhaling, flexing down, trying to get the sole of your foot onto the mat. If you want, you can hold the one where you're flexed down, and maybe you can feel the stretch in the front of your calf. Good, so bringing your foot and your knee back now, again into all fours. And then we'll just lift up into a downward dog to rinse all that out on the right side. Or you can go back into a child's pose if you like. The downward dog for me feels really good because it's allowing your cervical spine and your whole spine to decompress and unravel. Making sure your shoulders aren't accumulating any tension. And then you can set your knees down again and bring your left foot now forward in between your hands. So now low lunge on the other side. So I'm bringing my blocks up so that I can keep my heart open. You're absolutely free to bring your hands down by your foot. There's nothing wrong with that. You feel a little bit of a different stretch when you do that. I like doing both. Tonight I'm using my blocks because I want to keep my chest open, and I'm almost doing a bit of a back bend here. Checking in with your lower back though. If you are with me in this back bend, checking in with your lower back and make sure that it's tucked in so there's no pain there. And it looks really relaxed, right? I'm doing this nice, like intense stretch through my right side, but really my feet and my legs are pressing in. They're pressing in towards each other. If I let everything go and don't press in, it's gonna look like this, right? And then I'm gonna get injured because my hips aren't in alignment and I'm just kind of flopped down. So this is why we have the Stira and Sukha, I believe it is, in yoga. So the strength and the calm. So even though positions are looking super calm, you're actually using a lot of strength. You're using lots of different muscles. All right, now after that lecture, let's push back now into Hanumanasana. Getting into your left hamstring and left calf. So yeah, I really love blocks for this one because if I didn't have them, I'd be like this, hunched over, right? Maybe you're flexible enough so that your back is flat and your hands are on the ground. By the way, this is a bit of a balancing pose too, and I find with the blocks that I just have more stability. Breathing here into that hamstring. And then playing around with the flex of your foot, so flexing it, and then, well, flexing it one way, I guess, and then toes come to your face, and then flexing away. Just going back and forth like that if it feels good to you. And then if you want, you can hold it in one position for a little bit of stillness. Great. All right, releasing that, bringing the knee back. Let's go into a child's pose. So pushing back, bum comes to the heels, arms are stretched out in front of you, forehead comes to the mat, and you're just relaxing here, feeling into your body, letting your thoughts go if they try to interrupt, and if they try to take over your head space, just let them go. They'll be there waiting for you when you're done. And then pushing yourself back up. Now coming to seated. We're going to do a little bit of core work before we end the session. And I know it might not go with the rest of the class. This is really a restorative, relaxing class. But I did promise one of my yogis last time that we would do core this time because I forgot about it last time, so we will do that. If you want to skip core, you can just feel free to do any other pose that is restful and restorative for you. But if you do want to come in and with me and do a little core work, let's come back onto our bums. So if you're in a different position and you're doing something different, you can just tune me out. Do whatever your body needs while we do some of this core stuff. It won't be too long. We'll just take a few minutes before we get down into our final resting pose. So boat is one of the ones we often do that's really targets the core. And so getting into it will just look like feet, the soles on the ground, knees bent. And then we're going to open up the chest, making sure that our spine is straight, our head is lifted. And then next thing you're going to, I like to take my hands behind my thighs and lift my feet up. So you're in a bit of a boat now. And then if you want, you can take your hands out to the side, opening up your palms, but making sure your chest is still lifted. So we're going to breathe here for 5 breaths. I'm already shaking. That's 2. We're going to do 3. Stay with me if you can. If you'd rather not, come out. That's 4. My whole body's shaking. I'm convulsing. Now 1 more. Oh, and release. Oh, okay, come into cross-legged. Just feel that nice release. Ah, feels so good to release, doesn't it? Awesome. Good job, you guys. Let's do that 1 more time, okay? So again, if you're not into all 5 breaths, then either modify or just come down after 3 breaths. So one of the modifications can just be you keep your hands clasped around your thighs like this, and this is hard enough, and so I'm going to do this one this time. So, okay, let's go. Once we're in the position, let's go. 1 breath. Try to breathe here. 2 breaths. You guys got this. You're strong. You got this. We're going into our 3rd breath. If you need to, you can lower your legs. You're still working your core. 4th breath. Stay with me. We're doing it together. I'm shaking. 5th breath. And release. Cross-legged position. Nice. Oh, good job, you guys. That was a lot. All right. We're going to do 1 more core exercise. It's just going to be a little bit more subtle. So I want you to come onto your tummy. First, let's do a little Sphinx pose, okay? So just releasing the front of our body, because in boat, I find sometimes my hip flexors take over and they get really tight. So you can bend your elbows. Fingers are wide, stretched out in front of you. And then you're just opening subtly through your heart and through your chest. So this is more of a, you're not going to like really see this on the outside, but you're going to feel it on the inside. Feel your chest coming through. Reaching your toes back to the back of the mat. Energetically, your crown is coming forward. And hopefully you can feel that release in the abs, in the hip flexors. If you can't, you can bring it up 1 more level. So pushing your hands into the mat and straightening your elbows. Just make sure your lower back's okay here. So this would be the next step. If your lower back isn't okay, come out of that right away. Good, and then releasing down onto the elbows again. And we're going to do another core activity, but this time it's going to be more subtle. So we're going to come into plank. But in plank, we're going to be working on our core. So every time we're in plank, we're working on our core, right? But when we do holding plank for a longer period, that's going to get more intensely into the core. So we're going to try to hold this for 10 breaths. We'll see if I can do it. This is one of the like quintessential fitness tests out there. One of them. There's lots, but holding core, and I can't remember what the actual parameter is, but holding core is one of the fitness tests. So maybe we could work up to that. But for now, let's just get into a plank position and try to hold it for 10 breaths, okay? So just make sure you're setting up your plank really well with your shoulders on top of your wrists. And then bring your legs straight back. good. And so we're going to make sure the core is engaged and tucked. Bum is not sticking up or flopping down like that. You want a nice long straight line in your spine. So that's been maybe 3 breaths. So coming into our 4th. My breaths are really long, sorry. Now we're coming into our 5th. If you need to come down for a second, that's fine, and then come back up and join us. You're gonna feel this in your shoulders too. I'm starting to shake. That's 7. I'm gonna come down just for a second. And then we're gonna come back and go into 8, 9, 10. 8. 9. You got this. You guys are doing great. Finish it off with me at 10. Good, and then the knees can come down. Oh, sit back on your heels just for a second. Rolling your shoulders up, back and down, releasing your neck, any tension that accumulated there. Oh, it's a good workout for the shoulders too. Clasping your hands behind your back and just opening up your chest and your heart now. Back into neutral. All right, let's come down now onto our backs so we can go into our final resting pose, Shavasana here. Coming back right to where we started actually. Lying on our backs. Remember at the beginning our banana pose? Wasn't that fun? We're just gonna get you to bend your knees first of all. Feet are on the floor, flat on the mat, opening up your arms into a T. Then we're just gonna do a really gentle twist to the right, letting your knees just flop over to the right. So here we're not forcing anything. We're not using our hand to help our knees come down. It's just this very gentle twist. Letting the body now come down into relaxation. Finishing off the journey we just had together. Thanking yourself for participating through the whole thing. Till the very end here. Bringing your knees up and to the other side now, gently flopping them to the left. Taking a couple deep breaths here. Coming into a full relaxation. Knees come up and then stretching out your legs in front of you. Arms can stay open up to the side if that feels good. And gently closing your eyes. And coming down now into stillness. Feeling your body sinking down into the mat. Everything is still. Everything is quiet. Maybe your mind is still running a little bit, that's okay. Just letting the thoughts go one more time. And coming down into a really deep rest. Knowing that you always have your mat to come back to. Even if you can only get down on the mat for a child's pose. Or maybe you can only do a shavasana or a twist, whatever it is, knowing that your mat is here for you, the practice is here for you. And as you relax and feel your body letting go,
I just wanted to read an excerpt from a book that I'm reading, or that I read and I really like. And the context is, I'll tell you the title of the little piece here. It says, the title is Mess Acceptance. I love this concept, okay? So it's basically accepting yourself no matter what state you're in. We put so many expectations on ourselves to be a certain way, and it's like if we don't meet them, then we failed, or we're hard on ourselves, right? Or we reject ourselves. When we're not performing the way we want to perform, when we are not calm enough, when we snap at other people, when we make somebody else feel bad, we're a mess right then. But anyways, that's okay. It's about mess acceptance. It's not about accepting snapping at people. It's definitely doing better. But accepting whatever state you're in the moment. This little excerpt is kind of more about accepting your body and where your body's at. So I think it's pertinent to this, but I also think that accepting your mind and your heart and your emotions wherever they are at is also important. So here it is. Okay, ambivalence is normal. So rather than aiming for body acceptance, practice mess acceptance. Turn towards the mess of noisy, contradictory thoughts and feelings with kindness and compassion. You know what's true now. Your body size doesn't dictate your health. The bikini industrial complex doesn't care about your health. It's all just patriarchy and capitalism and stuff. But knowing what's true doesn't magically cure it. Knowledge may be half the battle, but only half. When you engage in physical activity, you know it's good for you because completing the cycle. They're talking about completing the stress cycle. And also, you're doing a thing. You also know that most people probably assume you're trying to lose weight or get in shape, and part of you might still actually want to change the shape of your body. That's all perfectly normal. Move your body anyway, because it's really good for you. And smile benevolently at the mess. Some days it will be messy as hell. Other days it will be calm and clear. And every day is just part of the intensely body neurotic world you happen to live in. So yeah, that chapter is more relating to our bodies and how we try to control them. But I think it's pertinent. It also relates to our minds and our emotions and some of the perfectionism that we do in our lives. Yeah, the perfectionism that we engage in. So mess acceptance, you guys. Let's take a nice deep breath in now to wake back up from our little rest. Come back into your body. And then gently come on up to seated with me. Just however you want to get there. Slowly come on up. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me tonight. Over the next week, let's try some mess acceptance. So loving ourselves and our mess, whatever that might look like. Doesn't mean we're giving up on ourselves. Doesn't mean we're making an excuse for behavior. We're just trying to accept ourselves when we're messy. Just as much as we accept ourselves and praise ourselves for when we think we're perfect. All right. Have a lovely evening. Hands to heart. Anjali Mudra. Namaste.